Have you ever felt like you are undercharging, over-delivering, avoiding your numbers, or saying no to opportunities that you secretly and so secretly want without knowing exactly why? Well, this might not just be poor money habits. This might be financial trauma. And today we're going to talk about how to exactly spot when financial trauma is showing up in your entrepreneurial journey. This is the Brown Way to Money podcast, where women of color in business find their financial independence path. Because financial success is within our reach, but by playing by their rules, it is only going to take us halfway there. To succeed, we must take ownership of our voice with money. So, welcome to the Brown Way to Money podcast. But before we start, very quick, what an extra $500 will do for you or for your business this month? Well, maybe that is for payroll, to get that social media strategy, or to simply go and relax this month, take a massage, whatever it is. You could be the receiver of one of the micrograms we give here at the Brown Way to Money. If you want to have a chance to be the receiver of these micrograms, then pay attention to the secret word on this episode and then go to brownway2money.com and submit your application. Welcome back, sis, to Brown Way to Money. I'm Alejandra Rojas, your host, Forbes columnist, founder of the Brown Way to Money. And today I want to talk about something we don't talk about enough in entrepreneurship. Financial trauma is quietly running businesses, and it may be running yours through and through. So in today's episode, we are going to dive deep into what financial trauma really is and how it is different from just being stressed about money, the silent symptoms that financial trauma can create in your business, even when you are quote unquote good with money, and the exact steps to start healing and shifting your financial decisions and your financial relationship. Because listen, this is a conversation about the root of your financial behavior, not budgets, not spreadsheets. We have had reports that now confirm that over 68% of Americans have experienced financial trauma. Now, this is only for United States, but in the work that we do here in the Brown Way to Money, we can confirm that a lot of the people that comes because they believe there is something wrong with them and they need to fix it so that they can be good with money is stuck in this loop of financial trauma as well. And that number goes even higher for millennials. Hello, we have a lot of generational things going on that we don't talk about when it comes to money. That is part of that financial trauma. And Gen Z, well, you have seen how they have, kind of like bounce to the other side of what that trauma looks like. And interesting enough, this is the same group driving most of new business creation today. So if today you felt frozen, avoidant, anxious, or exhausted every time you think about money, you are not crazy. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not lazy. And I want to dive into this episode because I know how hard it may be to run a business when your nervous system thinks like every financial decision is a threat, is the wrong one, is going to be the one that ends with your business. So let's start by really looking at what financial trauma really looks like. And we start by naming it. Financial trauma is the emotional and psychological wound caused by the past financial instability, economic discrimination, or chronic scarcity. And it may be yours or your generation that you experienced firsthand, or it came through other experiences to be. It is not just about being bankrupt. It is not about something that directly happened to you. And it is that constant low-grade anxiety, that feeling like you're never ready, that urge to work harder and do more, even when you have already redone the stuff. That is what it is. It's what I call the quiet sabotage. Because unlike other type of trauma, financial trauma doesn't often scream. It is more like a whisper. It's a whisper is a whisper that goes behind the normal thoughts, behind the daily thoughts. And it's like, well, maybe what if you're not safe? What if you're not enough? What if you don't know enough about money? they're not going to pay for that. Don't grow too fast. How are you going to control it? How are you going to control your bid? How you're going to control your bill? You're not going to be able to afford it. And when you start building a business from that place, every decision becomes emotional and driven by fear. So let me walk you through how financial trauma really manifests for entrepreneurs, what we have observed. First, you may be avoiding looking at your numbers, delaying pricing decisions, hence why we have a program, a loan forward pricing, the SPS series, or put off financial planning. You just avoid anything that has to do with numbers and with money. And you just kind of like close your eyes and let's go for it, but I don't want to see. You may also say things like, I cannot afford to hire, while overworking yourself to burn out. So you are in the position, you are in the moment that you have to hire, but you keep overworking yourself to burn out because you can't afford instead of maybe looking for that financial planning. So kind of like fits with each other, these symptoms. You may also make decisions from fear, lowering your prices, pulling back on growth, or hoarding into cash. And lowering your prices is a big one. I have seen a lot of people that have hurt their businesses so much only because they lower the prices in order to get that dopamine effect that, oh, now people will come. And we talk about this on the last episode on how to raise your prices without guilt, fear, and anxiety. But the dopamine effect of, if I lower my prices, then more people will come and I will keep it within my control with not a strategy, with no packaging, with none of what we talked about on that episode is going to hit. And what happens is that you ended up burning your clients with an unconscious bias. So that decision that came from a fear that you have been avoiding ended up hurting your business in a very difficult way to restructure. Or the most obvious is that you undercharge or overdeliver every single time as a way to avoid guilt or to avoid rejection. Because if you undercharge, you think that people is not going to reject. Maybe you will find people that buy at that price, but I have seen and I have clients right now that have gone through that, and the type of clients that they are working with are not worth it because they are not the ideal client. Your ideal client is also speaking to you through the price, through the number. That's also part of your quote unquote avatar. But because of financial trauma, you're continuously undercharging and over delivering. So you stretch yourself. You are you are super exhausted. You're stretching as much as you can, and you're doing it to avoid that guilt, that voice that comes like, oh, maybe you're too greedy, or why you don't make it affordable, why you don't. And we talked about this on the episode. You know my opinion about why you don't make it affordable, right? To avoid rejection. That is really what it is. And these are not only mindset issues. This is not only about changing your perspective. These are trauma responses. Trauma really teaches us that safety comes from control and over functioning. And that's why many of us stay hyper vigilant and hyper independent, thinking we are being strong when we are actually avoiding support. Let that sink in for a second. Because your hassle may be your trauma speaking. And here's an unpopular opinion that you need to hear when it comes to earning more and building a business that is setting you for financial freedom. If you are not looking into your relationship with money, if you're not looking how to heal and how to redefine those narratives that have kept you in that scarcity loop, you are not building a business. You're just building another way to keep feeding that survival loop. It doesn't matter how fancy your strategy is. It doesn't matter if you are going for the online business or the mainstream business, if you are putting a laundromat, or if you are building a newsletter, you're putting a podcast, you're a content creator, social media, you are doing speaking. It doesn't matter what your strategy is. And your type of business. If the engine running is fear, guilt, or shame, you will keep repeating that same loop. And the worst part of everything is that the world that we live in will prize you for working so hard. That is the way that we have been structured. The harder you work, the better quote unquote job you're doing. But inside, you will be exhausted. You will be drawing. Healing financial trauma isn't about this perfection. Isn't about, oh, I take this off and now I can make a whole lot of money. You can go ahead and make a lot of money with your trauma. But if you talk to me about financial freedom, if you talk to me about going through life enjoying every single second, because that is my perspective. At 6 years old, I understood that I may not have all of the time that people believe we have on this earth. So I need to enjoy today. And that's what I use my money to help me do. That's why I leverage every single part of my business, my life, my money to support me to. So healing financial trauma is not about finding perfection. It's not about putting a band-aid so that you can finally make money, because you can do that. But it is about living differently with money. And it's about pattern recognition so that you can understand how you interact with money and how you may go to the next step, how you may go to, instead of running a business that is just keeping you busy, how you can run a business that is actually giving you the cash flow to enjoy the life that your secret word is trauma. How you can run a business that is actually giving you the cash flow to enjoy the life that you want. How do you build and manage a business that, instead of having you and keeping you in credit card debt, is going to allow you to pay that debt off, but also to make an impact through your work, through your voice, through your consultancy? It's about pattern recognition, and it's about the connection that we have to go beyond just earning, because earning is not financial freedom. I help you through this podcast, through the Brown Way to Money platform, and through everything that I do to take that earning, that income, and transform it into financial freedom. It's just because income alone is just not financial freedom. So let's talk about how to break this cycle, that cycle of financial trauma. Listen, since you already know, I don't leave you hanging. Here is how to start the shift. Number one, you're going to build awareness, and you're going to start tracking your financial behavior and your emotional responses. You will notice those moments you avoid, you panic, you people please with money, you take rush decisions. Just build the awareness. Go to your iPhone, your notes, and just literally put notes. This is how I feel today with money. What is my financial behavior? I went to the shopping mall, and every time that I saw the prices, I felt a pinch on my chest. I want you to build that awareness. And then the next step is you're going to start asking better questions. When shame or fear shows up, ask, whose belief is this? Where did I learn it? Who said that before? Is it still true to this season, at this moment of my life or my business? And then you're going to reframe that money move. Instead of reacting, just pause, think, breathe, look at the side, talk to the neighbor, do something different. And then make decisions from your current clarity, not from that emotional activation that you just had. And the last step is that you're going to create that safety and not pressure. Build a peace of mind fund. Hire slow, let support feel safe again. Look for the smaller step that you can take today to get to the goal that you want, but you are avoiding to look at. That is how you go about financial trauma. And of course, there are so many other ways to tackle it, but this has been one of the most effective ones that I have walked all of my clients through. And if you want to go deeper into identifying the root patterns keeping you in your business in survival mode, I want to invite you to the one-on-one financial reset sessions that I have opened this month. We will look at your pricing, business model, money decisions, and the hidden trauma stories running the show so that you can have a financial reset and then, go into your financial goals for the year without any blockages and without any setback. We are going to have a clear session that is not going to be judgmental. Don't really, there is not a space for that here, but it's about alignment. Your business has to have an alignment, and that is led by the financial trauma that you cannot see. When you're in the bottle, you cannot see inside of the bottle, right? You need to be outside. That's why you have someone like me to help you, guide you through these different stages of the alignment of your business, and that I can spot when that trauma is creeping in and say, okay, let's go. We need to reset that. Why is it here? How can we fix it? And we flip it and off you go. 5 spots are open, so check the links in the show notes to claim yours right now. Okay, before I let you go, let me tell you what I'm working. Let me tell you what I'm working on my Forbes. Yeah. Now that I'm a mama, everything becomes a song. So, okay. So let's go. We're working on my Forbes columns. I am diving into a story series about entrepreneurs who are actively working to overcome financial trauma some point, right? Now, not just those who have made it, but women who are in the messy middle, naming the patterns, rewiring the beliefs, and doing the deep daily work to run their business from clarity and not fear. If that's you, I want to hear your story. Whether you have finally started charging what you're worth, or you're just in the process of going through some generational financial trauma, or you stop people pleasing with your prices, or you have made a bold money move that came from healing, I want to know, what did you shift and what have changed for you internally and financially? Head to the show notes for the link to pitch me your story. Don't overthink it. Just share what is real. You are meant to lead, to thrive, and build a future where money doesn't scare you anymore. So ask yourself today, what is my business saying about my relationship with money? And is it time for a quick rewire? I believe in your clarity, in your voice, and in your value. And as always, keep walking your brown way to money. Mwah. Okay, did you hear something that you liked in today's episode? If so, don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead right now. Yes, right now, before this episode ends, and send this episode to those 3 friends, 3 girlfriends that you know you can go to talk about finance, independence, money, business growth, entrepreneur life, and all of these juicy topics. Share this episode with them, because that is the only way we can grow together. I'm Alejandra Rojas, your host, and I will see you next week.